Cam Jurgens ready to step in day number one?
I mean, I doubt it, but that's a silver lining of Jason Kelce going down at this point and hopefully being ready by week one is that he gets a bunch of first team reps. So starts in practice, you got all the first team reps. Against Cleveland upcoming, all the first team reps he's going to get against Miami. He's going to play a little bit in the preseason game. He might play a little bit longer. Who knows? Because they need him to be ready.
Yes, Birch 365 is underway. We got another countdown for you. One. And then there was one. Days until the Eagles actually play a game. Now, it's a preseason game. Yeah, it's the Jets. But Nick Sirianni may have given you some hope as to who you will see on the field tomorrow. Look who's back. It's my partner. Yeah, I saw him Tuesday. You guys didn't see either one of us because we were both at Eagles practice, so we missed out. Good to have him back after a couple of days in the sun with the birds. Early practice. Yesterday probably wasn't as necessary as it was the day before when I was down there, but it's good to get Johnny Mac back. How much insight did you get over those 2 days, McMullen, putting in hour after hour? Oh, well, maybe it was only 2 hours. Time in with the Eagles practicing the last couple days.
1 hour yesterday. Hour and a half about the day you were there. They had a yellow practice when you were there, so they had a green practice yesterday, which is high intensity. So it's short, but short burst, and they go for an hour, and they do.
By the way, full pads yesterday?
Yeah, they had pads on. And they got a lot of work done. If you look at one of those hour and a half practices versus one of their hour high intensity practice, it's about the same amount of reps in team drills. So they fit the work in, they just go faster. Probably for conditioning reasons, I would assume, but yeah, I mean, this team is still struggling a little bit offensively. I think they did better yesterday. I think yesterday was their best passing day, especially in 7-on-7s, which was encouraging because you should be good in 7-on-7s. We talked about that a lot,
right?
And they were good, and that hasn't been the case a lot during the summer. So that was a positive. They seem to be getting a little sharper. That makes sense as you get later in the camp. You get a little sharper offensively. The entire offense is installed, so you can kind of calm down from that standpoint. So some small positive signs, I would say, as it gets later into the summer.
One of the non-positive sides from the last couple of days, and it happened after you and I got to exchange greetings when Jonathan Gannon was speaking before you had to get to work and actually start paying close attention to the Eagles actually working out before I got the air on WIP. After practice was over and done with, the announcement came down that Jason Kelce is going to have elbow surgery. Now, there are many different types of surgeries these days. This isn't the surgery of Johnny Max or my youth when if you got surgery, season's over, see you next year. No, that's no longer the case with scopes and the like. They described it as a routine. Clean-out.
It's always fun. It's always routine for those who aren't going through it.
Routine for you, me, and everybody else other than Jason. Exactly right. But that is how it was described, and we kind of knew that would be the case. But a scope means they're just going to go out and clean it out a little bit. Certainly, the elbow is something that you can get well padded up, and if it isn't 100% by the time the first game rolls around, it may come down to how much pain can Jason play in. But just the decision to have the surgery done was based on how much pain could Jason play in. I said this on WIP the other day, took a little flack for it, not surprised. While I have every faith, if I were a betting man, whatever money I have in my pocket, I would bet, Jason Kelce is going to be out there for the first snap. That he can be because he's got the consecutive starting game streak going, and you just don't bet against Jason Kelce. But the fact that it's even questionable at this time has me ask the question, why wasn't this done in March?
Nick got that Nick got to ask that question. And that's one of those things where you do have to lean on the player a little bit, and that's maybe when um, having somebody as tough as Jason Kelce. Dick Sirianni called him the toughest player he's ever been around. I wouldn't debate that. He probably downplays it. No, it's fine. It's fine. He's going to play through it. And then he gets to camp and he's trying to work and he's trying to do it on a daily basis. And, it's a little bit too uncomfortable. And I think that's part of the timing because in what little evidence there is in this type of surgery, in every surgery, arthroscopic elbow surgery, even within that realm, they're all different, right? Somebody's elbow doesn't have the same damage as the next person's. So you never know. But, this was probably the time frame that if he was going to be ready for September 11th, he was going to have to get it done now. And that's probably how the timing worked out. But he didn't think he needed the surgery. And if the player isn't complaining, you're not necessarily even going to do anything than a normal type physical. And then Jason got to camp and started working, and there was a little bit too much discomfort. And that's kind of how it shook down. But I mean, he's been playing with that elbow braced up for a long time. And there's good and bad to being tough. And this is probably the bad part of it.
Agreed. And you're right. The majority of the question. And again, if he's good to go for game one, then I withdraw my objection. Okay. If I'm a betting man, that's exactly where my shekels are going. The Jason Kelce will be out there for game number one. Yeah, too tough. If this is a routine, as we are told, a routine cleanup procedure, get it routinely done in March, so you don't even have to answer the questions come preseason.
Well, by the way, Jody, you know what comes after routine?
Please.
Successful.
That's nice. That's what we want to hear when he gets.
You've
back
never heard? Have you ever heard of an unsuccessful surgery? Because I'm still looking for the first one reported.
Yeah, don't know they use those exact words, but if Kelce isn't ready, which both you and I are on the record as saying highly doubtful, Cam Jurgens ready to step in day number one?
I mean, I doubt it, but that's a silver lining of Jason Kelce going down at this point and hopefully being ready by week one is that he gets a bunch of first team reps. So, starts in practice. He got all the first team reps, against Cleveland upcoming, all the first team reps he's going to get against Miami. He's going to play a little bit in the preseason game. He might play a little bit longer. Who knows? Because they need him to be ready. So he's going to get a lot of first team reps. And I think the Cam Jurgens today, or when it was revealed that Jason was going to be down for a while, and the one we see by September 11th, if by some chance he has to play, is going to be a different and a better player. But yeah, rookies, startup costs. I talk about it all the time. I mean, there's going to be some struggles. If you go back to the first game of Landon Dickerson, when he was forced to play right guard, his first play, he got bowled over. And he settled down over the ensuing weeks. He struggled a little bit, got really better when he went to left guard. Maybe that was part of it as well, but everybody goes through those pains. So if you're expecting Jason Kelce, if he's not available and Cam Jurgens has to start, I wouldn't count on that.
If let's say they get a chance to see Jurgens here in the preseason tomorrow night against the Jets, which, by the way, your first thought was he might play more because Kelce's not playing. Oh, I don't think Kelce was going to play anyway. No way Kelce was starting that game.
No, I don't mean from that perspective. I meant because they know they need to get him ready, so they might think he needs more reps.
Right.
In other words, they might have had a plan in place, that changes. You might their third string centers, Cameron Tom. They might have planned to play him for 3 quarters. Or 3.5 quarters, who knows? They might want to take a longer look at Cam Jurgens, for two reasons: to evaluate him and also to get him reps, just live reps, because those are better than practice reps.
Yeah, see, you and I see it exactly the opposite. I think because of Jason Kelce's situation, you'll see less of Cam Jurgens tomorrow night. That they will go into ego protective mode of, oh, shoot, we can't afford to get Cam Jurgens hurt now that we don't know for sure that Kelce's going to be ready to go day one. I think he'll play less than he would have if Kelce were up for the game. And the only ones who know for sure are the Eagles, because they know what exactly they wanted to lay out as far as snaps go for this first game. Now, those joint practices against the Browns and the Dolphins, I think that you'll see a lot of Jurgens there because, again, they control the joint practices. They've got a say over where the ball's being and what plays are being called and what they're working on and the like. So I think tomorrow night, if you're expecting Jurgens to go out there for a lengthy period of time because he's going to be their starter week one, oh, no. I know Nick said yesterday, and that's the next question I'm going to ask you about, how much you believe that Nick says the starters are going to play. He can say anything he wants in practice, and then we'll get to see who actually gets out there on the field to start the game against the Jets, and then we'll have our answer. But I think he's going to reel Jurgens back in rather than extend Jurgens for the way out, because that's been the Eagle motif this offseason is they're not going to get anybody hurt. Now, despite that, how many do they have? 11 guys that didn't practice the other day?
I'd have to count it up. The list gets so long. But most of it's precautionary as far as holding people out. There's not a lot of serious injuries, which I think is the bigger part. So let me count it up real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Ooh, they got the 12.
And then Andre Dillard and Jordan Mailata were both limited, but they were back practicing, even in team drills. I think that has more to do with the concussion protocol. You have to go through each step, but part of it is you're allowed to practice. So those guys are fine coming out of the protocol. As far as playing, you said a series or two. If I were a betting man, I'd probably lean towards a series. But I do think there's a difference between, say, Lane Johnson and Fletcher Cox than Cam Jurgens. And in other words, you know what you have in those guys, and you're going to be, and that's where I think the Eagles get really, really cautious. If they are, I'll just say this. If they're worried about a 22-year-old big hoss from Nebraska getting hurt and they think they can control that, I mean, they're overthinking it. That's all I'll say about that.
I would agree, and I would guess project that they will overthink it. I'll give you a prime example of as to whether Nick Sirianni has given us the real deal or gave you guys the real deal in practice yesterday. Cornerback. Do we have any debate as to who the three starting cornerbacks are for the Eagles?
No,
right? Of those three, would you say all three of the three are going to start? Two of the three are going to start. One of the three is going to start. And we'll assume that the Jets first play roll out three wide receivers. So their nickelback will be out there in the starting mix, or none of the three will start.
I'm taking Nick at his word, and don't lie to me, Nick Sirianni. I'm looking in the camera. He said a series or two. I'm going to say they're hoping for a 3 and out, and they get him out. And I don't know why teams do this. I mean, if you're going to play somebody 3 plays, why are you even playing them? Why bother getting them dressed?
Right.
So I don't necessarily disagree with that standpoint, but I don't see any reason to lie. So I think that's the plan. But they're going to be out really quick. If you want to see any key players, be in your seat early, or be in front of your television set early, because they're not going to be around long. And they have so many corners. Now, a bunch of them, I just said that list, a bunch of them can't play, probably. So, that's one of those positions where it seems like guys always come up with tweaks. And Jimmy Moreland's been on the list with an ankle. Kerry Vincent's on there with a groin. So those are two of the players that typically would get a lot of reps, especially Kerry Vincent, um, and he's not going to be available, I wouldn't think. So that shifts the thinking as well. But they have so many bodies. Mac McCain was on the list, but now he's back. So I assume he's going to play. Yeah, I mean, Nick said the Stars are going to play a series or two. I think it's more likely a series. I'm going to take the under over the 2. But he said they're going to play, so I think they're going to play. And then you're going to see a bunch of Mac McCain and Zach McPherson and Tay Gowan and Josh Jobe and Josh Blackwell and the rookies and Mario Goodrich and yada, yada, yada.
You'd see a lot of the Mac guys at the corner. Mark my words. I think that maybe one of the 3 will start, and the other 2 will never see the field. Just a guess on my part, judging by the way the Eagles have handled their preseason. We will at some point talk about comping the Eagles preseason to their opening day opponent, the Detroit Lions, and the first episode of Hard Knocks. Very interesting. Philly bent to it with their coaching staff, having a couple of ex-Eagle guys, which I think is going to be very interesting. Our first guest should join us in just a couple of minutes. We'll get Hunter Brody up here. One quick question before we take our first break. Now I want to get his name right.
Jaquiski
Tart. I've been mispronouncing it. I apologize to Jaquiski. When you and I downplayed, I'll certainly say I downplayed. I don't want to speak for you. The signing that a nice backup guy come in, experience and the like, but I didn't think he was necessarily going to be able to beat out either of the 2 starters who are already under contract there to the Eagles. We got attacked pretty good. I got a couple calls on WIP and some of our streamers. Best safety on the Eagle roster.
Best safety on the Eagles roster.
Yeah. When they signed him,
hate to pick on that guy, but I've yet to get the apology, Jody. I know you haven't got.
I don't think he's chimed back in to say, well, he might not be the best safety on the Eagles roster. My question to you is, will he be on the Eagles roster when they go to Detroit on September 11th?
Not looking good right now. I would say he's been out with personal issues the last couple of days, so he hasn't been on the field. When he has been on the field, he's been strictly second team, sometimes third team. It was interesting. Anthony Harris was out yesterday with a dental issue, so wasn't serious, but and I saw him. He was out there, and this to me was the more interesting part. Guys who got first team reps next to Marcus Epps, who, by the way, is the best safety on this team.
Yes.
Andre Sacheret and Reed Blankenship over Kayvon Wallace. That's even more interesting to me. So they're cross-training Josiah Scott as well at safety and Andre Sacheret. Yeah, I mean, he's got to get back if he wants to make this team. But there's 2 ways to look at it, Jody. We got Hunter in the green room, so I gotta do this quickly. There's 2 ways to think about this. Jaquiski wasn't there yesterday when he could have had first team reps. Maybe he would have gotten them. Maybe they know what they have in him, or maybe he's just completely out of their mind. And I wish I could tell you, but I have no idea because he hasn't done much. He hasn't taken 1 first team rep all summer, which is a big surprise to me.
Wasn't to me, because I thought they had their 2 starting safeties, and I still believe that's the case. Although between you and I, it sounds like Anthony Harris hadn't done a whole hell of a lot either. It's a good thing they got Marcus Epps because he's their one unquestioned safety as of right now. All right, we're going to our safety net. We've had him here with us before. We just didn't have him with us when he was a star. He's now a star here in Philadelphia.
He's always been a star. Right, Hunter Brody.
He's actually been given the position to be the star that we believed he would be. Hunter Brody's going to hop aboard with us next here on Birds 365.